Before I start, after keep switching the camera back and forth, left to right, I think my favorite shot is when the camera is on my right, your left, I guess, because I get to see that Darth Vader helmet in the video, as well as the dude's picture. So from now on, maybe I will keep the camera this way for a while. Maybe add some more stuff back there to make it less boring. Anyhow, welcome back to another This Is Now. You know, one of the things that I'm sure many of you have heard, as well as involved in discussion and debates over the past many years, as long as you have been in this hobby, is nostalgia. Okay, I heard this all the time. Often, whenever an older collector complained about the current state of the market, the term nostalgia and this will be thrown out there. Okay, very often, and I'm sure you have heard this many times yourself. The hobby has changed so much. Back in the old days, we collect the books for the love of the characters, the love of the arts. I'm sure you heard something like that, right? Something like that. I can go on and on, but we heard a lot of that. I heard a lot of that. I've been involved in many discussion that circle around that topic about how the hobby used to be so much more fun, more innocent. I get that, okay? I get it. I'm old. So I get it. But often I try to step back and look at the hobby from an unbiased eyes and brain. Okay, that's how I try to operate on a daily basis with everything. I'm not connected to a lot of things emotionally other than my wife and my son. But this is now. Why is this so different now? Why is now so different that irk many old timer that they cannot wait to tap on that thumbs down whenever they watch a video that does not ooze the love that they want to see? Why is that? It's pretty simple, really. When the old people like me started collecting in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, however we entered the hobby, usually we are what? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, teenagers. Pre puberty. There's a term for that, but I can't figure it out in my head. But you know, does everybody or most people that just watch to this point agree on that point? Okay, it's young, can be even younger than 7, 6, but usually 13, 14 seem to be pretty common, right? And you see less and less people that say, hey, back in the 80s, back in the 70s, I started collecting when I was 19 years old. I'm sure there are. There's always exception to the rule. But if you talk to a lot of people that are in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, most likely they will tell you they start collecting much younger than 12 years old or around 12. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I'm trying to generalize here. And whenever I generalize something, there's always somebody saying that you are wrong. But this is now. And like it or not, the newer collector, the average age of the new collector, people that have never picked up a comic book before, that just start to get involved with the hobby, are what? 20s, mid 20s, or even later? Yeah. How many people how many teenagers that enter the hobby at age 10, 12. I'm not counting the people that go along with their dad, okay? How many people on their own, like I did, go to an LCS at age 13 or 14, okay? I don't know any. I certainly don't see anybody whenever I go to the LCS. All I see is older people, old men, and 20, 30 something, okay? Plenty of those age group. So naturally, with that age group, when you're in your 20s and in your 30s, you care a little bit more about what? Money, profit, return on investment. All those things that most 10 or 12 years old don't even know or have never heard of, okay? Unless you're my son. If you're my son, you will hear, you have heard rate of return, rate of investment pretty much since you're 7 years old. But for the average teenagers, kids, I can see why we back then enter the hobby and love it for everything else other than money and profit and potential investment return and all that stuff. So, but this is now. When you have adults putting in a lot more than 50 cents on a comic book, guess what? Investment return, potential return, return on investment, all that stuff is a part of the hobby, a more significant part of the hobby to the newer collector. So like it or dislike it, it is what it is. This is now, okay? So I try to separate nostalgia with reality, okay? I understand, I get it. I understand the pining of older collector about how it used to be, but guess what? It used to be that way because you were very young. Now you're talking to a different group of collectors that are in it, and part of what they're in it is for investment return, potential return, higher returns, okay? So it's part of the lexicon of this hobby now, okay? You can't undo what's happened today unless you want to infuse in a new group of collectors that are less than 12 years old that are in it just because they love the cartoon that they see on TV or the movie that they're seeing. If there is a huge influx of those kind of younger age group, yeah, then they would be talking about how much they love the books and say nothing about investment return or potential return. But this is now reality. And that's it for this video. Hopefully it makes sense. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.